Thank you, VMware, and Avni, we are really proud of you. And as the meaning goes, I think Avni means earth. So you truly are a source. I think today you've kind of, as the vice president was saying, a lot of food for thought. And I think, it helps me think, okay, how can I sort it from government? And government is always on the flag where people always feel that nothing much is happening, nothing is done. You're always, and I think your words of Gita is something that I should take it back and say, okay, give it your best and just don't be bothered what other thing, right? So maybe on the other side. Yeah. Sorry, my talk will not be as interesting because I'm not going to talk about my journey in the Indian administrative service or decision making. I'm only going to talk what government is doing to ensure that diversity, equity, inclusion is also, a kind of a part of it. And less to say that government has always been having this agenda, and probably the reach has not been much as what we would have liked to. So I'm really delighted to be part of this talk today at VMware Nirmaan 22 on the area that's very, very close to my heart and also important to me because I have, of course, like every other space of employment, Indian administrative service now is seeing a lot of gender equity happening. I think we have a ratio of 30% to 70% of women, men kind of decision-making positions. And I still have a male boss. So whenever I come with a policy, he first looks at saying, tell me what have you reserved for the women? So it's now goes without saying that, it's understood that something will be there for the women. So I would first likely thank VMware for initiating Nirmaan, a successful platform for engaging with women leaders in technology. And I hope that this platform can further engage women outside the space of technology also. That's what our wish would be. And I'm glad to see how VMware is working across the industry to build communities in tech and growing the next generation of women leaders. Diversity is a cornerstone of successful organization, including government, especially in this day and age where business are globalized. Gender diversity is undoubtedly an important aspect of it. It goes without saying that diverse teams drive better outcomes. Programs such as Nirmaan push the agenda of promoting women in field by providing opportunity to grow and succeed. An increasing presence of women in field of technology and entrepreneurship has led to transition in the demographic attributes of business and economic growth of our nation. The decade especially has seen an increase in women participation in IT industry. Women workforce in IT and STEM are providing themselves and bringing a much needed diversity of thoughts to organizations across sectors. I must say in the engineering colleges that we see 50% are female students. So that's something to goes without saying, especially in Karnataka. I cannot talk about other states, but the enrollment ratio in STEM is 50%. And I proudly say, yes, it's a little skewed when it comes to IT and biotech. I handle electronics, IT and biotechnology. And we recently had a quiz in the Bengaluru Tech Summit. I had all finalists, girls in biotech, but all finalists, boys in the IT. So I think that's a mindset you guys have to now change because you're all part of the industry. Large tech companies like VMware have made public commitments in improving gender diversity. I understand that VMware aims to hire 50% women and gender non-binary people and 50% men by 2030. Is that right? That's great. So, because when we reserve seats in our policies, like we come out as a government, we have a four-pronged approach. We fundamentally start with the policy making, then look at the infrastructure, then the funding and the outreach. That's how basically the Department of Electronics ITBT works. So in the policy, when I kind of try to reserve some things for the women, especially we came out with the engineering research and development policy a year ago, the first of its kind in India. And when I said 25% of the PhD seats will be reserved for women, I think a lot of men had question mark. Guys, they still tell me that this will be something that will go wasted. But I mean, we are ready to live with it. Maybe with not 25%, maybe it starts off with 5 and 10, and probably by 2030, we will see that whole transition change thanks to organizations like VMware taking a step forward. So I would urge women here to make use of those kind of opportunity and not let the government, kind of have a flat decision makers like us be questioned in future that, okay, you did something, but we told you always that it will not happen. Right. So that's something that we would look forward to. And as far as government is concerned, we collaborate heavily with private sectors like VMware and academia. And the department closely works in trying to ensure that, this diversity, this equity, and then gender disparity is kind of bridged. Yes, at the tech space, I still keep hearing that, this is still a celebrated word like women in tech. I think a lot of talks are happening now, and government is not far behind. In the recently concluded Bangalore Tech Summit, we had a lot of sessions to understand and try to engage with various organizations to see what is the gap that exists and how, as government, we can try to step in our decision-making process, in our policies, in our educational aspects, as well as the social inclusion part. So I think government is probably doing this for the last 50 years, and maybe not many people have spoken. One on the entrepreneurship, if I may speak, because startup is the big new buzzword right now. I think all of you all are hearing it, and Bangalore is the IT capital, the electronics capital, biotech capital, and now the new startup capital. Of course, with 40 unicorns in the city out of 107 in India, not a single woman still. Nykaa is there, but outside of Karnataka. I can only speak of Karnataka, right? But still, but in the biotech space, not many people will know. There are a lot of emerging unicorns who are women entrepreneurs. So hats off to you guys. You guys are really doing amazing on that. So when it comes to startup, when we started doing the policy making, we realized it's just not about employment. It's also about entrepreneurship, where a woman as a leader will further look at employing more women. Probably when I do interviews, would be a very different mindset with which I would approach compared to my male colleague. Of course, we are biologically different, and emotional quotient also we are different. Right? Probably the way we can understand a few things is far different from what my male colleague would do. So we started this inclusion plan. So one was, of course, government. Of course, not many of you all will agree. We have inclusion in terms of caste-based inclusion, right? Of course, that's a debatable story, but yeah, we look at scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, minorities is one aspect of it, because from government perspective, it is important that all communities are taken along. One is again the urban and rural. And the third aspect is on the gender is women. So government is really doing a lot on women entrepreneurship. And especially on the startup policy, we have something called, this year, in fact, we went ahead, being the 75th year of Indian independence, we did an exclusive call for women beyond Bengaluru. So I think Bangalore, you'll find a natural, route to access to facilities as well as people, liquid investors, etc. But there are a lot of women who need this handholding outside of Bangalore. So we did this, and we've selected 107 entrepreneurs, out of which women entrepreneurs exclusively by government, providing grant. And it's not even equity, mind you. This is the only state in the world which gives grant for startups and not equity. So to the tune of almost 40 odd crores. So this handholding is happening at our end. And then we realized that there are entrepreneurs who've gone from idea to proof of concept stage, and now they need to be scaled up. So we came out with a plan of Women Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program. So after that, somebody came and told me that, okay, you're only looking at very basic SaaS-based startup. What are you doing for deep tech? So then we said, okay, we came up with 100 crore equity fund where 25% of the amount is reserved for women in deep tech. And we have women in space tech, women in nanoscience, quantum, etc. So these are some of the things that government is already doing in terms of, trying to bring in this equity. On the education front, on the research front, there is already reservation that is happening in terms of, as I said, PhD. We are funding 1,000 PhDs in the next 5 years on deep tech and emerging tech, where 48 lakh rupees will be funded by the government, where 25% of that that is out of your 1,250 PhD engineers, students can be from your own community. So that's something that we are working towards. We are working towards providing internship to women. We realize that in all companies, when it hires you, women is one tick off, but ultimately you need to prove yourself. And I think internship is an area that everybody is looking at, because the new education policy that the state government has introduced in the STEM, which is again the first of its kind in the country, looks for 36 credits of internship. So we realize that again, when a boy versus a girl engineer, again, I don't know. I mean, thanks to the recent mindset that is changing in the community or in the hiring, spectrum, that still the boys somehow manage to get internship, but women still struggle. So we thought, at least for students studying in government colleges, engineering colleges, where we want to support and fund 10,000 engineering graduates from these colleges, we thought 33% of women interns will be funded by government of Karnataka. So that, industries can at least leverage it, and, it's a kind of giving a scope and opening up the industry to a women tech graduate. And Women at Work, thanks to VMware, is an initiative that we have taken up. This is the idea where we want to kind of upskill and reskill people, where we found that COVID has been not too great for everybody. But in government, we are also re-engineering, rethinking. A lot of process engineering also happens at government. Maybe not at the pace that you all expect, but a lot of things keep happening. So one such initiative is Women at Work, because we found that out of the people who migrated out of Bangalore during COVID, I don't know how many of y'all know this, 37% of employees are non-Bangaloreans. That is, I'm talking only again about Karnataka. 16% who moved out were outside Karnataka again. 37% were non-Bangaloreans. So we felt that, okay, now people are working from home, working from anywhere. How do we kind of upskill and reskill them? And because some of them, again, were complacent, and probably the Gita effect was too much, that, okay, I'm very happy where I am and I don't want to come back. So, but we thought, okay, I think it needs to be upskilled and reskilled so that we can get back women to work. So this is one such initiative. And we've had a MOU with VMware on Project Tara, where we are trying to get this entire concept. And we're also working with multiple industries to ensure that, this kind of skilling concept reaches across board to all the women far and wide, because this is an age of internet, and it's something that, can help everybody. And we also have a scheme called Vriddhi, where we give a lot of soft loan to deep tech entrepreneurs who are working on emerging tech and deep tech, where we have funded about 25 women on soft loan. And of course, inclusion, like McKinsey study showed that many organizations consider diversity, equity, and inclusion as a source of competitive advantage. Because for us, it's very important that the goal is to reach $1 trillion digital economy. As a state, from IT, we contribute to 25% of GSTP, and out of it, 96% comes from Bengaluru alone. It is 3 to 4% that gets added outside of Bengaluru. But now the 60% of population who are yet to be employed, or yet to be employed in a white collar or a semi-skilled job, is what is the next goal of government to help reach the trillion-dollar economy, where Karnataka per se is looking at adding to somewhere around $300 billion. So we have almost our trajectory says the goal that has been given to us, the target that has been given to us is a growth of almost a 4x kind of a stuff. So without women, you cannot do, because we need that workforce. The human talent is the supply chain. We are working towards it. So we are trying to work on education. We are trying to work on skill development. We are trying to put things together on, ensuring that there is a better conditions of working. We were the first state to come out with allowing women to work in the night shift. We brought about policy changes to ensure that work from home was seamless and smooth. And I think now with this attitude of people not wanting to come back, maybe the mental health will be the new big challenge for government also. So because in government, believe me, we've not had a day off. So from March 8th, 2020, whether man, women, as officers, we've continued to work. We've been on the field and, probably been able to support the industry. And we always proudly, as a department of ITBT, we say thanks to the community of people from electronics and IT. Bangalore always keeps the globe on. So probably if Bangalore had shut that time during COVID, the entire world would have come to a close, because we have 400 plus GCCs who work out of here, 450 plus MNCs who work out of here, and probably NASDAQ would have crashed. Probably you wouldn't have had beer of, Heineken and, things like that. Everybody did the process, because you guys do the process engineering, process management, so that's what Bengaluru is. And 50% of women adding to that skill force. I think you guys should be proud of yourself for making it happen, right? So, and thank you very much to VMware. It was truly inspiring, the first half of it, and a lot of learnings for me too, as a government official. And I wish all of you all a great success, and I hope the entire day is engaging. Thank you.